Welcome back to Pen and Prosper, a podcast where JT Lawrence is coaching me, Melissa Delport, to be a six-figure author, and we are putting it on the internet. Before we get started with today's episode, we would like to say a huge thank you to our paid subscribers, to our editor extraordinaire, Elize, and to Vellum, the ebook formatting software that we could not live without. Without any further ado, because I think our brains are shot, JT and I have just spent 3 hours with Blake Hudson. What was meant to be one episode has rolled into 3 episodes. But I just feel like there was no waste. There was nothing that I doubt we're going to cut much out of them. I think you will pretty much get them as they came, I think.
Pretty much as they can, yeah.
Unedited, 3 parts, grab a coffee to save you the absolute torture that will be watching one episode and waiting a week. We are going to release all 3 episodes this coming Fridays. Yes, JT, anything you want to add before we actually just dive in? Because my head is still...
I know. I've got pages and pages of notes here that I was taking during the interview. It was such a helpful thing. It was very validating for me because a lot of his Facebook strategies is what I was doing when my books were selling so well last year. So I think I'm definitely going to go back to that kind of strategy, but with a lot of tweaks, all the stuff that he helped us with, things that I've learned at the conferences. So I'm feeling super optimistic and excited about Facebook ads. So one thing I do just want to say, I know this isn't a conference episode, but what I do want to say about the main takeout for me from New Zealand was do your own ads. And if you don't know how to do your own ads, learn. And I think someone like Blake, you can just learn so much from him, and his style is quite simple. Like, you can do a lot of his things, and it can be a bit more complicated, or you can just do his simple strategy. And I think you will probably have success with it, because how can you go wrong when you are making sure that your income is higher
more than what you spent?
Expenses. Like, you can't go wrong, right? And you're going to get new readers, because if you're advertising on Facebook, and new readers is the name of the game, and if you're making a profit while you're doing it, you can't go wrong.
Yes. I think do your own ads comes back to learn from everyone. I have taken bits and pieces from, a lot of Caroline's strategy has worked for me. I've used, that's probably the lion's share of my Facebook strategy, but then I've taken pieces from Nick, and I've taken pieces, and I think that there's no one size fits all. There's no one size fits all. So the more familiar and intimate you become with your own ads, the better they're going to do.
The golden thing, the prize will be having your own strategy, right? Like, at the moment, my strategy is part Steve Higgs, part Caroline. Now it's going to be part Blake Hudson. And at the end of the day, when you find something that really works for you, for your genre, for your particular books, that'll be your strategy.
Yes, 100%.
Yeah.
So without further ado, because this is an episode that you want to watch multiple times, probably.
Yes. They've had such huge success, haven't they? Look up Stephanie Hudson on Amazon. You can see how well she does. They made, how much money did they make, Delport?
20 million. I want to say 20 million.
I think it was 10 million.
10 million. I don't know. I just heard million.
You'll hear it in the podcast.
No, the first million he made in 6 months, but I think that they have made 20 million. I think. Yeah. Is that pounds? Must be GBPs. Anyway, or dollars. I don't know. My mind,
at that level, it doesn't matter.
Forgive us
Magic money.
Forgive us for every intro and every outro in this 3-part series, because we are still trying to process and our brains are not functional, and we will be back to our regular broadcasting thereafter. So, without further ado, let us dive in.
How are you?
I'm very good. Yourself?
Yeah, good, thank you. So nice to see you face to face after all our Facebook messaging.
Many chats, many messages. No, it's good. It's good.
So I'll introduce you to Melissa Delport, who's my co-host.
How you doing, Melissa?
Good, and you?
I'm very good.
The podcast is basically getting Melissa to 6 figures. So I'm coaching Melissa to 6 figures. Yeah, so that's the point. And we're almost there, aren't we, Delport?
No, this month I'm going for my first $6,000 month. So we got to Rainbow Trout with my first goal.
Yeah.
And then I'm set to do 6,000 this month. So I think 6 figures is like 8,334 or something.
Yeah, exactly. It's 8.
But considering I started at like $1,000 a month, it's like the growth
that's amazing.
Yeah.
And how many books is that?
Oh, I do have a lot of books, but unfortunately I didn't have any strategy. So multi-genre, it's a bit chaotic.
How we all start out.
Yeah, I'd probably say that I maybe have like a good 12 usable, hey, like backlists. Yeah, in genre that we've been working with. Yeah. But I mean, I've got
it's
about
possible to get
13
there
in
with just one
total.
book.
Yeah.
You can do it. You can do it with one book, no problem.
Oh, dreams.
Yeah.
Blake, would you like to introduce yourself?
Yeah, sure. So I'm probably the worst half of a couple. So my wife does the most of the writing. I do a little bit of writing, but she is far more successful than I am at my writing. But I do all of her Facebook advertising and all of the website and pretty much everything that doesn't involve, that just allows her to write, basically, because she just doesn't want to deal with it.
Yes. Well, we dream of men like you.
Oh, okay.
Imagine having in your life.
Does she know
I've
how
not heard that
lucky
one
she
before.
is?
But my background's not in advertising. It's not in anything remotely using a computer, to be fair.
Oh.
So I mean, I originally trained as a sound engineer and worked for like 10 years doing sound engineering, where it was all in like sort of live concert environments. For a company that made mixing consoles, but back in the day in analog before it all went digital, and I got out when it went digital. So because I'm not very into computers, believe it or not. But yeah, so that was my original background, and then I joined the army, and then I was got all my lorry driving licenses or truck driving licenses for the US. And when I came out the army, I was doing truck driving in London, thinking of all my stories in my head, because I used to listen to a lot of. Back then, it wasn't audiobooks. Well, it was audiobooks, but they weren't like Audible or through a phone or anything through an app.
It was
was
CD,
all
wasn't it?
CDs from the local library, or believe it or not, I used to have them on little MP3.
Oh, I thought you were going to say cassette tapes.
Yeah,
we're not that old, Delport.
Not that old, but I did have a few. But yeah, I used to copy them from the library into little MP3s and listen to them, and that obviously all went outdated and stuff. So that was my area of where I used to think about my own stories, and I started wanting to write like action thrillers and stuff. But yeah, fast forward a few years when I met my wife, she basically, I got told by her father at the time, she doesn't need you to go out to work. She just needs somebody to do the shopping, look after the kids, and make sure that her bills are paid and life is happy, so she can just write. And because she was, I mean, to be fair to her, she started back in 2012. We got together in 2014, but when we got together, she was already earning what I would class as a very good living from self-publishing.
Okay.
So was she was in that, that original Kindle rush. And some people just came out of it foot flat and made rockets.
Yeah, she wrote her first book. She tries to get it published. She would always say she could plaster a toilet bathroom walls with rejection letters from publishers and stuff. And then, she was told about self-publishing. So she just uploaded and hit the road. I mean, it was crazy to think of it back then, because she was a self-published indie book. She only had one book out at the time, but she just finished the second. But she put her ebooks for like £8 a book. And because she was at the time where she thought you had to write massive books, so she did like 250k, 300k books, and thought, well, I'm not selling them cheap.
Yes.
So I think people just thought they were traditionally published and just bought them, right? So she did quite well from the first few books, and then I would class it as back then rapid releasing. So she did one book a year, and the first 4 books just took off, and she never looked back. And then obviously KU started. And
what genre does she write in?
She still is. She's paranormal romance and epic, I suppose, epic fantasy romance, I suppose.
Okay. Yeah, that links of the book, it sounds like it's epic.
Yeah.
But now she's learned a little bit now. Rather than writing 250, 300k, now she tries to aim her at 100k.
Okay. Same as that.
But she's at the point now where she writes a 100k book every month.
Amazing.
So it's her goal this year is 12 books this year. She's done 11 before.
Wow.
But this year she's going for the 12.
So
keeps the fans happy.
Yeah,
and that's another big thing about her as well, is that she's really capitalized and made a very strong social media following.
Okay. So,
is she writing under a pen name or her? I mean, can we look her up?
She writes under her name, Stephanie Hudson.
Okay. Just I'd love to look it up. I get very curious. Okay.
She's very lucky because she likes to engage with her fans. She's very interactive with them. So she's over that, however many years it's been now, she's gone from a very small Facebook group of like 1,500, 2,500 people to like 30,000.
Oh,
That's
wow.
incredible.
There's a lot of people with bigger Facebook groups for sure.
Yeah.
Which I think
Not me though. Not us.
Very
Not us.
You can get there. Facebook ads is where it's at. It grew very fast from Facebook ads because we use the Facebook ads to grow the Facebook groups.
The kind of information we need is exactly.
Yes. How do you? Because I know you can grow your page. I mean, I don't know if you're talking about the like click invite to page, and then
that's one of them.
Or is there a more direct route to your group directly?
There's lots of ways of doing it, and what I find the best is obviously you do the whole invite to the page, and you can set your page up that when people are in, they accept and follow the page, they get invited to the group.
Yes.
So that's one way of getting into it. And then the second way is we literally put a link in the Facebook ad to the Facebook group and say, because the amount of people that look at your Facebook ads who are repeat customers, repeat readers, however you want to deem them,
yes,
they're super fans or they're good followers. The amount of people that just comment that they've read the series, or they don't. A lot of them don't even know there's a Facebook group.
Yeah.
So put a link in their Facebook group. Facebook doesn't like you. To be fair, Facebook tends not to like links in ad copy to take you away from Facebook. But if it's links to Facebook, they love it.
Okay, that's great. That's such a great tip. Thank you.
So smart, yeah.
Blake's a smart guy. That's why I asked him on.
Well, I don't know. I think it's luck mostly.
Bit of both.
But so like that's my background. So since I took over, I mean, I was late to the party with Facebook ads. Way too late. So it's never too late for anybody to get into Facebook ads because we had a very good following, very good natural readership. The base was strong, and we didn't start doing Facebook ads till 2019. And the only reason that we did it was because we actually moved to Canada back in 2018. And the cost of living was a lot cheaper there back then. And we had a good living, and it was good. But when Facebook changed around 2017, 2018 to pay to play, basically.
Yes.
Even though she has such a great following, it just literally dwindled. They just couldn't see her posts. They couldn't see what was going on. Whereas her Facebook group, she'd do a post, she'd get like 500, 600, 700 comments on it within a few hours.
Wow.
It would whittle down to maybe 80 comments in a few hours. So people just weren't seeing her social media anymore. So that's when I went into, okay, let's what can we do? So I just literally scoured the whole of YouTube. Let's find out what this Facebook advertising is all about. There's quite a lot of, back then there was quite a lot of the big hitters into Facebook for authors, type of how to do ads. I watched all those videos, learned all those videos, did everything for free, didn't do any courses. I don't know if it's just stubbornness or arrogance, I don't know. But I was kind of like, I don't agree with how they do Facebook ads for authors. I just don't agree with it. I just thought we've got such low, relatively speaking, as a business, we have such low overheads for what we sell as a product, as digital products. And I was like, I don't like how much return on investment you're getting for such low overheads.
Yeah.
So I started looking at, well, how do people do Facebook ads in other industries where they don't have as high a margin for profit? Where they have to have spot on ads.
So our margins are so narrow. Yeah,
exactly. So I was like, well, how do they make it profitable? So I looked into like the whole drop shipping side of things back in the day when it was a lot more popular than it is now, and direct sales and just other industries like, how do they sell you these like funky leggings or whatever it is, all sorts of stuff. And I use their strategies. But obviously with Facebook, all that's changed and it's constantly evolving.
It's always changing. Yeah.
So now my philosophy is more about how people buy books and the psychological reasons why people like adverts, or not like adverts, but how it grabs their attention and stuff, because that never changes. That just doesn't change. It's been like that for 100 years, whatever. It's not, it's no different. But Facebook changes the goalposts. We just got to with the hands wider or whatever. So that's so we've since 2019 when it's really took off, we've probably spent about $2 million in Facebook ads, and we've had a return.
Melissa's just choked on her coffee.
Well, when you look back at it, it's like, wow, okay, that's crazy. And bear in mind, it all started with me turning around to Steph when we were very short on income and it was dropping. And we got our last 5,000 Canadian dollars. So what's that? It's about just under £3,000 or whatever, a little bit more in dollars. Our life savings at that point. And I was like, Steph, do you trust me? And she's like, why? I said, I'm just going to spend all this. What on? I'm just going to do Facebook ads. And she was like, well, let's go for it. So yes, that was quite a decent budget. And we spent that over about 6 to 8 weeks. But within that 6 to 8 weeks, we completely spent all our money. And we had to wait 2 months for the KDP payout. But it worked.
Real.
And the hardest part was waiting for the next pay.
Yes.
But then we built from there. So, you can start with relatively modest, humble budgets. But now when I look back and it's $2 million worth of spending, it's just insane. And I think last time I checked, we were about 9.5 million revenue. And I think we'll break 10 million this year. So
amazing.
And that's just ebooks and paperbacks. That's
amazing. Congratulations. That's incredible.
Thank you very much.
That really is.
I picture myself. If I can do it, anybody can do it, because, I wasn't good at school. I've not done university. I particularly don't like computers. It's all a struggle, right? But you've got to do what you got to do.
You obviously know how to do something really well.
Yeah.
Well, it's either that or luck. But we've done it for a few authors, so it probably isn't luck, but it's fun. It's been fun. And I never thought this would be what I do. Yeah. It's just what I fell into. So,
do you find that there's some hard and fast rules that will work across any ad? Because there's this whole thing of testing, and I've definitely found it's testing. I'll go through a phase, and some ads will work, some ads will not. Have you? Because obviously you've been doing this. I mean, I know you say you're late to Facebook advertising 2019. I only started last year, so just to make you feel a bit better, like you say, never too late.
Never too late.
Have you found there's any sort of hard and fast rules that work across any ads that are like, these are certain things that you will not change? Like this is like your cardinal rule of advertising.
Yeah, I mean, it's not a popular opinion. It's not a popular opinion at all. You've got to have a good book. That's number one. There's a lot of people out there.
That's what we've been doing wrong.
I'm not saying your book's not good. I'm just saying the number one rule for me is it's got to be a good book.
Yeah, with a good product page.
With a good product page. I'm a big believer in series. My wife's a series writer. I've tried to advertise a lot of standalone books, and you can make it profitable, and you can make it so as long as you've got other books and you can funnel them into other standalone books, you can make it very profitable. But series for me is just king. It kills on every level from an indie point of view.
Length is length. What would you say?
Big books.
Okay,
Big
and
books,
length of series.
Well, length of series is a touchy subject because a lot of people, especially my wife, likes to write massive series, all interconnected. I mean, it just gives me a headache even thinking about it. But, she does like 12, 14 book series, but then she does another 12, 14 book series that's related to the first one, and the third one's related to all of them. And it's all a massive world.
Brilliant.
And technically you can't start series 3 without reading series 1, but a lot of people do, and they mix and match. And I'm of the opinion I don't care which series they start, as long as they start. But she's like, no, they have to start book 1. And I'm like, whatever. But KU is so powerful. You just scratching the surface of KU is very profitable for people. And a lot of people tend to think, oh, I think I've exhausted the KU readership, and you haven't. Because if you had, you'd be sitting on a beach in the Bahamas with your yacht out in the moored off the coast and stuff, because you'll just be killing it if you had.
Yeah.
There's so much potential out there with KU, and I know a lot of people don't want to put all their eggs in one basket with Amazon. It's a legitimate fear. I get that. At the end of the day, if Amazon collapsed tomorrow, we'll just spend a couple of days putting all our books on all the other platforms, right? Exactly. And try and make a living that way, because obviously all those Amazon readers have got to go somewhere.
Exactly.
That's the way I look at it. Let's worry about it when it happens. So KU, if your books are anywhere between 75K, you'll do all right, because you want to get to the point where, like my wife's books, her KU reads on a book is more than what they would have paid if they bought it on an ebook.
Yeah.
So that's the way we look at it. And obviously then you've got the whole box sets with those different breed of readers.
Yeah.
Who just want to consume as much as possible.
Yeah. Isn't that interesting how it's almost a completely different target market? The box
Totally.
readers.
I mean, with just individual ads on a single book one in a series, if I have no ads running on my box sets, those box set readers will go up just from seeing the individuals, because they're looking for the box set.
Yes.
So, yeah. But what was the original question? I can't remember. I've waffled on.
The length of series.
Length of series. I find that there tends to be a bit of reader fatigue, especially with my wife's after book 6 or 7. There tends to be like a drop in read through rate. I think it's reader fatigue. From book 1 to 4 is 1.1 million words. So it's big books, right? Yeah. So when you start getting into book 5 and book 6 and 7, it does drop off. But what I also find is they tend to go back. They take a break. I see some more Facebook ads a couple of months later, and they're like, "Oh yeah, I started that series. I'll go back to it," and it carries on. Yeah, ideally, I've always said to Steph, just write the 6-book series. Just write 6 books and move on to the next one.
We've been doing it right.
We've been doing something right. Now we just have to make them good.
Yeah. I'm sure they're already good. They just need eyes. They just need eyes on the book, right?
Blake, I want to know, because we've had a lot of people on that are really doing really well with Facebook ads, and some I agree with, some I think everybody's experience of it is different. But we've had people that have said that like attribution data is like underreporting by like a whole lot, and then we've got some people that say it's like 90% accurate. What is your take on attribution data? How accurate is it, and how closely are we looking at it?
I think attribution links for Amazon is absolutely fantastic. I think it's the best thing in the world if you want to waste your time. It's brilliant for wasting time. That's I
tend to agree.
I have a lot of hobbies. I have a lot of hobbies, and I want to spend my time doing hobbies. I don't want to spend my time. I want to be as efficient as possible. And my problem, this is from my point of view, from the genre that we advertise to. And I can only really speak from the genre that I work on. We're in our own little bubble of readership. They're a very specific type of reader. But what I tend to find with our own data is, so you may use these guys. We use Genius Link for just creating all our links for all our advertising, and that gives me enough data that I want to know about or can be bothered to look at, to be honest with you. And
you see us both of us writing it down. Never heard of it. Trying to act like we did, but we don't even know.
If you've not heard of Genius Link, it's a free service up to a certain level.
Okay.
So you basically take your product link from Amazon, from your homepage, the shortest version of it. I mean, you can use the longest version if you want, but I take the shortest version. So I take it from .com or .co.uk or whatever. And then I create a Genius link with it in its own dashboard, give it its own name. So you just call it, book 1 of whatever series or whatever you want to call it. And I use those links in my Facebook ads. And then what those links do is anybody that clicks on that Facebook ad, no matter what country they're in, it will send them to the correct Amazon for their country. So you can use the same. You can use the same link for the US, UK, France, Australia, Canada, whatever. So it's geographically knows where the person's clicking from and will send them to that Amazon.
The book links.
Yeah, it's like a universal book link.
Okay.
It's exactly the same thing. And you can use it for any link you want. and it'll send them to wherever it is it needs to send them. But that gives me enough data to collect. So what that basically tells me for our readership is that pretty much 60% of everybody that clicks our Facebook links, and we probably have 2.5 million clicks a month on average, I would say, maybe slightly shy of that. 60% of everybody on Facebook that clicks is using an iPhone or an iPad.
Yes.
So what's the first problem we have with iPhone and iPad? Well, they get sent to Amazon. They can't buy their book. They can't use the iPhone, Amazon Kindle app or the iPad, the app. They can't use that app to buy a book. They have to physically go onto a computer, open a browser, log into their Amazon, then buy the book and put it on their device, right? I think it's changed a little bit with KU. I think KU, you can download the book you want and use your KU subscription. But if you want to actually physically buy the book on your Kindle app, you can't unless you're using Android, right? Because obviously Apple want you to buy Apple books. They want to keep their ecosystem, so they make it difficult for Amazon. And, obviously Android, they don't care. They'll let you do what you want. So I know that 60% of all our readers or everybody that clicks is on that platform. So if 60% of everybody that clicks goes to Amazon and can't purchase, then Amazon attribution means nothing to me because 60% don't get recorded. And then of the 40% that's left that are using whatever devices, whether it's browsers or whether it's Android devices or Android tablets or whatever, only I think back when I tried out Amazon attribution, maybe 20%, 25%, if you were lucky, was getting recorded. So 25% of the 40% and the 60% is just no go anyway. So what's the point?
And then you add the fact that it only tracks for 2 weeks, and most of my ads run to box sets, and nobody's reading 6 books in 2 weeks. So it's
Exactly.
I think it's so underreported, I think.
And I think it's underreported. There's plenty of room for them to improve, and maybe it'll improve in the future, and maybe some people get great results out of it. I don't know. I don't. And what I find is it goes against my ethos of advertising anyway, because I'm not advertising on Facebook for one advert for somebody to scroll, see that advert, click it, get sent to Amazon, buy the book.
Yes,
that's the ideal world, but that's just not how people buy books.
It doesn't work like that. Yeah.
It doesn't work like that at all. So you've got to, my ethos of advertising is that all your readers or potential readers on Facebook are into separate camps. So you have your hot buyers, you've got your lukewarm buyers, your warm buyers, your lukewarm buyers, cold, and then like Sub-Zero off a cliff. They're just not interested at all. They're too busy taking photos of their food or liking cat memes or whatever it is that they do. But you've got to, my whole thing is putting that image in front of them multiple times and them seeing it. And because what you have is you'll have the people that they're on Facebook, they're in Facebook groups, they're in all the author groups, they're in all the genre groups for their books. And every day they go on Facebook multiple times, hours a day, they're just looking for new books. Brilliant. We love those readers, right? That's probably only like 3 or 5%.
Yeah.
And you can do well advertising to those people. You can, depending on how much budget you've got. But they're like your bread and butter. You're getting those sales. But the rest of them, you've got to warm them up. So there's people that they just like to research. They just like to, get recommendations on this book, recommendations on that book. They'll have a list as long as your arm of books they want to read. And you need to warm them up to your series, your book, whatever. So they need a different type of ad to the first lot. The first ads are, in my view, hard sell ads. They're just, this is the book, this is what you're getting, buy it. And they're just like, yep, I'll do that. And then next one is like, you need a bit of curiosity. You need a bit of intrigue, a bit of interest, a question, something to make them stop scrolling, the image to make them stop scrolling, or the video. And then you've got to warm them up as an advert, not the hard sell. and then it just goes from there.
Okay.
Like, so when you want to get the people who have maybe they don't use Facebook to research books or to find their books. Maybe they're big readers. Maybe they buy their books from Tesco's or Walmart or, Barnes and Noble or Waterstones. They're traditional book buyers. Maybe they're not that keen on ebooks, whatever. If they're not using Facebook as their platform for researching books or finding books, you've really got to shock them into wanting to look at your advert. So that's where I do more shocking ads to get their attention. But yeah, I mean, I've come up with, I suppose it's an unlucky but lucky 13-step process, I think.
I'm going to start taking notes in earnest.
Yeah. Are you going to say? I'm assuming that we get to hear all about it.
Yeah, I've been waffling on so long, my screen's gone off. I've got notes so I can keep myself on a tangent.
And we like waffling. The show is a fan of wafflers.
Yeah, we big waffle. Yeah.
And I have an incredibly long password that I have to type in every time. Yeah, so I mean, we've already done like a little bit of an introduction to it.
Okay.
But
so this is it's a 30. Does it have a fancy name? Have you given it a name? Have you patented it?
Yeah, I've been really creative, and I've just literally called it the 13-step Facebook advertising process.
Unbelievable.
That's super
I'll definitely let your wife keep doing the creative writing. And you
yeah, exactly. Oh man, if she did the side of it, the guy would this process would be like a ripped torso. It would, yeah, it should be a lot more interesting. Yeah, it also has its place. Yeah, it does. So it's like, it's not, to me, it's not about how you set up your Facebook ads. It's not about installing pixels. It's not about the technical side of the ad count or, how big the budget is and how you spread the budget and all that sort of stuff. Because all that is really important. And all of that is very learnable, but it literally changes every week. Well, maybe not every week, but
it really does.
Month by month, it changes constantly.
It's so hard. It's so hard to keep up with it and to just be on.
It really is.
Facebook ads.
I do probably 250 to 300 ads running in a month, and I just set them and let them go. And then when I get to the end of the month and I want to start new ads and stuff like this, inevitably every time I go in, something has changed, or I'm repeating or duplicating an old ad, and then it's got lots of little red highlights everywhere telling me that stuff's been removed and stuff's gone. So it's a real thing. It's a nightmare. But at the end of the day, I'm a strong believer that basically Facebook wants to spend your money.
Mm-hmm.
And if they're not creating a good product, you're not going to continue spending money with them, right?
Yeah.
So I do genuinely believe that they want you to be successful with your ads. And there's not some sort of conspiracy that they only favor other types. I mean, I think it's legit. You can honestly say that probably author spending is very relatively low compared to a lot of other industries on Facebook, and they don't prioritize authors over other industries. That's 100% true. But they want it to be successful, right?
Yeah.
So the learning of the technical side of it, I don't really think I can help anybody with that. That's for everybody to learn themselves and continue to keep brushing up on. But what actually matters, I think, in Facebook's ads is it's the psychology of your ad. Yes. It's the copywriting, right? It's the human behaviors that people have and the engagement triggers. And one of the worst ads you will ever have on Facebook is an advert where nobody is engaging with that advert.
Yeah.
If they're not engaging with it, it's a rubbish ad.
Yeah.
Because let's face it, everybody's full of opinions. Everybody wants to make a comment on stuff. And if you're not even getting negative comments, you're doing something bad because it means people are ignoring your advert.
Yeah.
And Facebook loves engagement. It's its number one
metric.
it's the number one metric is engagement. So if you can get people engaging with that ad, and yes, engagement costs money, and every comment will cost you, every like, every love will cost you. Yeah, that's all very well and good. We love social proof. That's a big thing.
Yeah.
And it's going to cost. But if people are engaging, your CPC will drop to the floor, and it will push that impressions out like crazy. And it always works that way. No matter what changes they make to Facebook, those are the ads that work. So what's the psychology of the readers? It's different for every genre, I think. And that's where people have got to become masters of their genre.
Yeah.
Okay, if you're in multiple genres, you've got to have a few hats. But it's like, I have no idea how psychological thriller readers think, because I just don't think about it. I don't chase them. I don't look for them. I've got no interest in them. Maybe if I write one day, that'll change. But my whole focus is on paranormal romance readers, fantasy romance readers, female readers, and the age range of those readers as well. Very important. Because we're very lucky that we get to speak to a lot of our readers, because we have in-person events, book signings, and we've been doing that for quite a few years, and we engage with them. And Ethel, who's 65, is a very, very different reader to Emma, who's 34.
Yeah.
And they think totally differently. And we do ads for both. We try and do it as generic as possible. We also do very targeted to certain age range.
Okay.
And touch wood, it's working so far. But
Yeah.
that's I think that's the most important thing. How do people buy books? What's the psychology behind it? The copywriting and human behavior. And if human behavior tells you anything, it's all over the place. Literally all over the place. I mean, how do you buy books? You're authors. You love your books, but how do you buy them?
Me, I go to the bookstore. I only shop in the bookstore.
Do you only shop in
bookstore?
I don't read Kindle. Sometimes I buy on Kindle, but no, I like a paperback. I'm a paperback girly. And then I will buy the hardback. And I sometimes buy an Audible if I'm not reading fast enough. So I will have it in paperback and hardback and Audible if I really love the book.
Yes.
And how many Facebook ads do you see for ebooks?
None.
Why?
None.
Why?
Maybe they're not targeting me because I'm not a reader who reads ebooks.
And also you in South Africa.
Or maybe I don't notice then. Is it because I don't notice
then?
Of
course, right. Yeah, okay. So you're in South Africa.
South Africa, no one targets South Africa.
Okay, you didn't have to say it like that. Nobody cares about us.
No, it's not that you don't care. It's just that
is Amazon got a foothold in South Africa?
They've only just opened a store now, but I don't think anyone would target us anyway, because we also just a very this Rainbow Nation is very I think it's a very difficult country to target to. We have so many languages. So it's quite a hard, and also we do have obviously and it's an impoverished nation, and we have a lot of people that are uneducated, unable to read. And so I don't think South Africa is ever going to be a hot spot for book marketers. Actually, that raises a very interesting question, because if I lived elsewhere, I would probably be everybody's favorite target, because I read so much. And it would be so interesting to see what I actually would have been shown if I was in one of the, sadly not. JT, you're going to have to do it. What do you see?
So I basically read all my books via audio. So I have an Audible subscription, I have a Spotify subscription. I like fly through books that way. Then I also always have a library book that's like some kind of bestseller, because I always want to be reading a bestseller. Like, what are they doing? It doesn't matter what genre it is. I just want to know like what's working, right?
Okay. And do you do the whole?
Sorry,
do you do the whole? You get the ebook with the audiobook deal?
No, I don't love reading ebooks, and the only time I do that is when I read contemporary my contemps work. So like Helen Harper gave me a paperback, but last night. But I would have bought her ebook, and all my urban fantasy author friends, I read theirs via ebook.
So that the trophies stay on the shelf and pretty and unbroken.
Yeah, I suppose so. Yeah.
Yeah, that's exactly what Steph does. She collects her paperbacks, and then she reads everything, but she reads all on ebook at night.
Yeah,
so. But so do you see a lot of Facebook ads yourself, JT?
I do, but if I click on one of them, then I see a slew of ads in the next few days. Like, I'm retargeted like anything. But if I don't click on anything, then I really don't see for weeks or months. I won't see an ad for an ebook. So
that's really interesting, right?
Yeah.
So if you do click, you see lots.
Yeah.
When you stop clicking, they just fade away.
Yeah.
So I don't read at all.
Okay.
I literally don't read. I couldn't read until I was 16.
Wow, that's amazing.
Well, I hid it. I was like, this whole dyslexia thing, I'm just hiding it as much as possible. But I didn't start reading until I was 16. But I don't read at all. But my Facebook is absolutely rammed with
well, that's how we met, isn't it?
books.
You saw my ads.
Yes, I saw your ads. Yeah, that's right. I did. Your targeting is brilliant for me. And
Daisy, look at you, hitting all the non-readers up.
Even all the non-readers. But obviously the reason is because I constantly click every advert that I see. Because I want to keep in the loop with what people are doing image-wise.
That's so smart.
And I want to see what their ad copy is. I want to see what their imagery is. I want to see everything. So literally my whole Facebook is paranormal romance, naked torsos, and just everything.
The way you like it.
I mean, I used to do the book covers, and I still do the book covers, and I've spent a lot of time shading around, like, six packs and doing all sorts of stuff. I'm very afraid with the male anatomy, but
very secure in your manhood, I see.
Yeah, it's no bother. But so knowing what everybody else is doing is always good.
Yes.
And
hard
obviously,
for me to see.
I'm costing a lot of authors a lot of money as I'm always clicking on the ads.
I was going to say, you owe JT 21 cents. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, there must be near £1. Must be near £1 by now. But so I'm checking out their product pages, and I'm obsessed with numbers, so I'm always checking rankings, and I want to see the rankings of the books that are
based on the ad,
advertised on the ad, and see if they're doing what they're doing. And so I personally, what I think is a good Facebook image is irrelevant, absolutely irrelevant. It we have learned that. I think is good. And the hardest thing I've found with other authors and anybody that creates Facebook imagery, whether it's you're employing an artist to do it, or whether you're going on Fiverr.com and employing somebody that way, or however you're getting your imagery, or whether the worst is when you're creating the imagery yourself. And obviously, if you're the author yourself, it's a freaking nightmare. Total nightmare. I mean, who would work with authors is beyond me. They're just the worst people to work with. Terrible.
It's so emotional.
Terrible. They're so emotional. They're very precious.
So much
drama.
I get
it. It's their baby. The book is their baby, and I totally get it, because I fell short to it myself many times. And I've got all the rules for the other authors and totally different rules for me. And I just don't follow my own rules. And the problem with the imagery side of things is you just have to be completely unemotional when it comes to it.
Yes.
And you have to be completely untied to your own story when it comes to imagery. Yes, imagery has to be somewhat related to your book. It does. But it doesn't have to be 100% of whatever your character is you're portraying, or whatever the scene is that you're portraying in your image, whatever it might be. And even to the point that characters have different color eyes or different color hair or whatever it is, it doesn't matter, right? Because what you have to have, like, I test 20 images at a time, and creating 20 images takes a lot. Especially if you're doing multiple ads of 20 images, just constantly churning out imagery all the time. You just can't stick to what this vision is in your own head. And those readers, when they do read the book, they'll have a completely different vision in their head anyway.
Yeah.
And before they read the book, they have no idea what your character looks like. And they don't care because
and they're not going to remember. Yeah.
And they're not going to remember.
Oh, I clicked on the ad and she was a brunette, and how dare she be a blonde in this book?
Exactly. So,
yeah.
And what I tend to find as well is you don't want Facebook ads that are too polished. You don't want this amazing image that's just the font is absolutely beautiful and the imagery is absolutely beautiful. And everything about it is very high class, expensive, and very good, because people on social media just go, that's an advert. Keep scrolling. That's an advert. And yes, you will get the small percentage of hot buyers that are like, yeah, it's a book, let's look.
Yes.
But the vast majority of people, they just see this all the time. They're constantly seeing it. So they need something that's more attention grabbing, more emotional grabbing, more, what's that? And whatever that is down to your readership. But I know a lot of people don't like the word testing. And I hate testing. It costs money. It's horrible. But
it works. So you said that you test up to 20 at a time, but then how do you determine your winner so we're not trusting attribution data. I tend to agree with you there. So how then do you determine your winner?
The winner is all the ads. All the ads are the winner. And this is a horrible view that I have.
Delport, that's an excellent question. And Blake, that was an excellent answer. I love it.
all the images are winners, because you can have an image. Facebook's changed in the last 6 months, 100%. Maybe even sooner than that. What it used to be was you would test 20 images and maybe I would get 3 or 4 that would get a lot of impressions and a lot of clicks. And out of that 3 and 4, maybe 2 would be running very cheaply, and then the other 2 would be running slightly more expensive, but still within a tolerable metric. Or metric of spending, or whatever, however you want to look at it. So then it would be like, okay, turn all the rest off, leave those 4 running. And then you would scale those 4 ads. However, you would do your scaling.
You're speaking in past tense, and I'm thinking, I'm clearly doing it wrong.
Yeah, it's all changed.
I'm still doing that.
But what Facebook's doing now is, if you have your 20 images, and this is why running ads with few images, like maybe you only do 4 or 5 or 6 images, doesn't work as well as it used to. You could get away with it before, but even then, 20 images was better, but you could get away with 4 or 5 or 6. Now, Facebook wants different images, 20 of them, with slight variations. And then what it will do is it will work out, these ads are the hot ads. We'll send those to the people who will just click everything and they will buy, or hopefully buy. And we know they're the hot readers for this, or they're the hot customers for this.
Yeah.
It'll then sort all the rest of the 20 images out and be like, oh, well, these will go to the lukewarm ones. These will go to the warm ones. These will go to the cold ones.
So
and what Facebook's trying to do is warm up your potential cold readers, and it will serve them. What I see is, I'll get loads of impressions on the top ads, and then all the others will have less impressions, but they'll keep ticking over. They might not get clicks, so they're not costing you anything. But what Facebook is doing is serving those images to people that are cold, and it wants to, and then it'll serve them the hot ads, maybe a couple of days later, maybe at the evening, maybe next week, whenever. And what I've tend to find now, or found a couple of months back, 6 months or so back, is when you turn off your underperforming ads, your performing ads tank.
Yes.
Because it's not used. It's basically doing a big loop. They're cold, send them the cold ads and let's warm them up.
Yeah.
And that's so all the ads are winners. As long as one doesn't all of a sudden just go off on a tangent, which it can do. Hasn't happened for a long time, but occasionally one will just go off on a tangent and cost a lot.
Yeah.
Do loads of impressions, and you just have to turn it off if it's costing you too much, and start again.
So
but generally they're all winners.
My ads, because I used to be so on top of Facebook ads every day, going in there, cancelling the ones not working, scaling up the ones that are working. And I think I was just getting in my own way a lot of the time because I didn't understand that it's a system. The ads do not perform on their own. It is a system. And Facebook knows how to work the system now better than ever.
100% it does. And it's horrible trusting.
It is
scary Facebook algorithm
Yeah.
that constantly everyone tells you is just updating all the time, which it is. But it's at the end of the day, they just want it to be better and make more money. And the only way they're going to make more money is if you make more money. So yeah, and even if you have imagery that gets no impressions, no clicks, and it's a rubbish ad. What's the loss? It's just that doesn't work. So it's not
costing anything.
You won't use it again. Or maybe you might. To be honest, I've used ads that didn't work 6 months ago, and they've worked later because maybe the ad copy resonates more, the image resonates more, tastes change, right? I had classic example was the very, very first ad I ever had was a very purple, smoky background, naked torso guy, very buff, lightning, purple everywhere. And it literally just had the series name on just underneath him. And that was it. And that ad probably generated easily 250,000 in sales from one image.
That must have been a hell of a title.
It was a
was it called the best book ever?
It was just a golden image. And I probably pumped easily 75, 80 grand into that image over 2 years. And it generated those kind of sales. And then one day it just tanked. So, yes, the shelf life of an ad is a thing. But yeah, you can have an ad that can run for 2 years easily. But then that was back then. So I then created new ads and we changed all different sorts of stuff. We had all different imagery, many, many versions and all different types of stuff. I took that original ad 6 months ago and used it again, freshened it up a little bit, and it took off. So I don't know. Who knows what you can't pick a winner. It's not like race. It is like racehorse. So you just don't know which one's going to win.
Sorry. No, I just want to ask, when it comes to the actual setup of the ad, do you say you're testing these 20 ads, do you put them all under one campaign?
Yes.
So one campaign, and then do you let the budget decide for itself? So you throw in a budget, you set up the ads, and you let Facebook decide.
Yeah.
And each ad, how many copies?
So I keep, when it comes to Facebook and when it comes to monitoring and when it comes to analyzing your analytics and your data and all this sort of stuff, who's got time to make it complicated? No one. If you're spending time on complicated stuff, you're losing out on either writing, creating the product that you're actually selling, or spending time with your family, or doing the fun stuff you like to do, right? So my ethos is always keep it as simple as possible. Everything's simple, because you can go as complicated as you want, but then everything has to be complicated, right? Whereas Facebook is relatively simple, and you can overthink it very, very quickly and very, very easily. So how I set up, and I always set up Facebook ads this way, is I will have a campaign, and that campaign is going to go to the US, and it's going to be the US only. I'll have a campaign that's only going to the UK, and then I will have a campaign that will go to Canada and Australia. Canada and Australia, historically for us, very expensive and underperform compared to the UK and the US, but there's still profit there, and there's a lot. The readership's growing continuously, and you can do very well there. You just have to realize it's just not going to work as well as the UK and the US. So that said, US campaign, advertising book one of that series. And then, so I'm only targeting the US, and then I'll only target as broadly as possible within that genre. So yes, my first lot. So when I go into the ad set, I suppose it's called the ad set, isn't it?
Mm.
So it's targeting the US, and then it'll be only English speaking, US and UK. I'll then target age. So for me, I'll target age range from 24 to, is it 65 plus? I think it is, isn't it? All female, and then I'll pick. So they're into books, they're into bookshops, they're libraries, they're into everything relating to books in the first set of targeting.
Yeah.
Everything. And then the second set where you're honing down will be totally genre specific.
Yeah.
So for our sake, it will be paranormal romance, fantasy romance, urban fantasy, and anything that's slightly crossover between the two. Because obviously they've got rid of all the authors and stuff.
Yeah.
Ages ago. But to be honest with you, when I had the list of authors targeted and when I had the list of genres targeted, it was the same number anyway.
Okay.
So it was all mixed together, to be honest.
Okay.
And then I'd have a third tier of targeting down where it would just be Amazon.com, Kindle Store, Kindle free books, Kindle Fire, Kindle, everything that's related to Amazon would be in the final set. And sometimes I'd flick it the other way and I'd run the Amazon Kindle top, then I'd have all the book interests, and then I'd have the genre. Both work exactly the same.
Okay.
Doesn't matter which way around they are, they work well.
Okay.
So
that's great information. You know, we are always
broad targeting. I don't target.
Well, we always testing broad and targeted, and broad is almost always the winner for most of the authors I know. But I do
broad as broad as you can go.
Yes,
I
yeah.
always
But
think as broad as you can go.
This is quite targeted, what you've laid out here.
Yeah, it's targeted. It's targeted to a degree, but
yeah.
I mean, at the end of the day, these numbers are very rarely under like 10, 17 million, 20 million, depending on US, UK version, whichever. But that's, you know, it's as broad as you can possibly go, but staying within your genre as close as you can.
In any targeting, I'm so bad. I'm like, woman, 25 to
I mean, you know,
but
some people have a lot of success that way.
Yeah, it's good to test that kind of targeting, because it really works well for people like Steve Higgs, who's made millions on broad targeting.
Yes.
So it's not a bad strategy, but what's great is to test different things. See if
I'm excited.
Steve Higgs has got a very good ethos with his advertising as well, because he's all about getting people's emotional hook. He's all about getting their attention, asking the question, social proof. You know, his advertising is very similar to ours, where he's looking at the psychological effects of advertising in itself and the psyche of readers and stuff like that, whether he's planning to or not. That's what he does. So you can go broad. You know, broad works, and he's got a lot of genres that fit broad.
Yes,
because you know it's cozy mystery, and you know it's fantastic. I
think our genre is a little bit more aligned to what your wife is writing. So I'm very excited. I mean, like we said, is it working? I mean, I'm not even at $6,000, so let's try something new.
It's always good to test.
It can work. Listen, you can make $6,000 from one book in a series.
I can't
you can make
it
from book one.
Yeah,
you can do it from book one.
My
right
first
now.
6 months.
You get that book in the sort of range between 850 and 1,500 ranking. You're on 10,000. You're on 10,000 a month. And I'll go back to that. Remind me to go back to that, because that's a key point of where your ranking is very important.
Okay.
But yeah, so I've done the targeting side, and we don't use any AI whatsoever when it comes to and they're making it incredibly difficult. So at some point, we're probably going to have to start using it. But I don't use any versions, or, you know, let's move headlines around or give different versions of it, different ad copies from the AI version and stuff like that. Don't use any of that. And when it comes to your placement, I only put it depending on whether it's an image or a video. And that's an interesting topic, image versus video.
Okay.
Is I only go on your Facebook feed, your Instagram feed, and Facebook group and there's probably, I think there's one other. I think it's your own, is it Facebook profile or something like that? There's only 4.
Yeah.
Facebook profile.
That's the only one I tick.
Yeah. But sorry, Blake, can I just stop you there? So I understand
Yes.
3 of those, but what's the Facebook group thing you mentioned? So I always.
So basically, if you're on a Facebook group on a web browser,
Yeah.
when you're in the group, you'll get adverts on the side.
Oh,
Yeah.
yes.
So this is those very hot buyers.
Wow.
So they're already in related Facebook genre
My word. I've never
groups for
even
those
seen that
books.
as an option. That's amazing.
Yeah, it's there. And but what I don't do is I don't put it in. I mean, I see some people do this, and whether it works or not, I've got no idea. It doesn't work for me when we've tested it. Is I won't put it in like Facebook Messenger, or because when you're in Facebook Messenger, it's tiny anyway.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It
I
also
can't
feels
see it working.
intrusive, I think.
Very
Like,
intrusive.
I don't want to interrupt people's conversations with like, buy my book.
100%. And I don't like putting it in videos. So if somebody's watching a reel or whatever they're watching, and then all of a sudden it comes up with a Facebook ad, that just annoys the hell out of me. So I'm sure it's annoying other people. So I just keep it to places where people expect it rather than shoving it down their throat. So that's pretty much the targeting side of it. I'm sure there's other options that could be clicked and stuff that I haven't gone over, but again, it changes and it's all different. And then I then do the ad images, and it will be 20 images, and I tend to group them. It's not set in stone, but I tend to group them like sort of 5 or 6 images at a time will be all the same ad copy. There are 5 or 6 different images, and those images are either what the first 5, say, for argument's sake, let's keep it simple.
Okay.
I will use an ad copy where I'm hard selling to a hot buyer, and I will use a headline where I'm hard selling to a hot buyer, and it'll say the same, and the imagery will be for a hot buyer.
Okay.
And then
my next
5.
One primary text per image. So you don't do multiple options of your primary text. It'll be one ad copy. Okay.
One ad copy for the first 5, because that ad copy I've tailored to hot buying customers.
Okay.
And then the headline will be for hot buying customers. And then the next 5 will be for warm customers. The ad copy is slightly different mentality towards it, not as hard sell, more intriguing, trying to pull them in. The same with the headline and the imagery. And then the next 5 after that will be for like lukewarm. So you're really trying to get some interest going. You're really trying to pull them in. You're really asking questions. You're not telling them what the book is. You're not even telling them that it's a book. You know, you're wanting them to have the intrigue. And then when it goes to the last 5, that's shock tactics. That is in your face, you know, images that will make people stop. Not so much because they know it's a book, but more like, whoa, what's this?
Yeah.
And then the ad copy is even more mysterious. It's even more not actually saying a lot, just keeping it quite simple and making them intrigued.
Yeah.
And just give them little hints that it could be a book. Like, so you've got a KU symbol. You just say little things, but you're not shoving it down their throat. You're just getting them to stop, because they're probably not going to do anything from seeing that image, but they probably will when they've seen it a couple of times, and then they start seeing your other images, and they get warmed up to it. Right?
Okay.
So that's generally how I set up the 20 images. And then when it's video, I found that, so I've done every type of video you can think of. I've done movie trailers, I've done AI videos, I've done author in person videos where they're talking about their book, I've done videos where it's the author just showing their book, and more TikTok style videos and all sorts of videos. And the best 100%, without doubt, winning videos are your author face holding your book, not even saying anything, and comparing your book with a really famous book.
Oh, really?
My wife's, one of my best ones for my wife would be, she used to get a lot of comparisons with Twilight. They would be like, because I suppose she did a lot of interviews where she spoke about Twilight being her massive influence, because she read Twilight and thought, this is terrible. I really could do better, which is just very much her. She's very well. I need to write a better book than this because this has really disappointed me. She loved the movies though. She loved the movies. She read the books first. Read the books first. Didn't like them. That inspired her to write. And then she watched the movies, loved the movies, and was like, "Well, they're better than books." So whatever. I don't know.
It was all those abs. It was all those abs in the movies.
It was all the abs. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not even sure what team she is. So, and her first book it's a lot bigger than Twilight. It's a lot more adult than Twilight. It's a lot more everything than Twilight. But it has a lot of similarities in the sense of like, you know, a young girl going to a new town, vampires. Hers is demons and other such things, and hers is a lot bigger. But it's a good comparison. So she would hold up a Twilight book, and that's classic cover. Everybody knows the Twilight book who read that genre, even probably a lot of people that don't read that genre and they know Twilight. And she will literally just hold it up and we'll just have a bit of writing saying certain things, and then she puts it down and she picks her book up and says, if you liked Twilight, read this. Fantastic.
So it's non-verbal, so she doesn't speak, the text speaks. Okay.
The text speaks, she just has catchy tune in the background. And
I have a Twilight comp. I've always said if Twilight grew up and trained with the Fae, it would be Guardians of Summerfell. So I'm going to try that.
Yeah,
I'm going to try that.
Use that. Do it. Use that. Just have your Twilight book. Say your things that you need to say, and then hold your book up. I think. Do you guys know or heard of the Twisted Sisters? So you got Caroline and Suzanne.
The UK.
So, yes, amazing girls. They've come to a few of our book signings, and we've hung out a bit. And great girls. They obviously had a TikTok viral video that went absolutely massive. And I'm pretty sure it was through a Harry Potter book onto a chair or a pillow or something. And then, you know, had a bit of music and a bit of text going on in the TikTok video. And then she just threw, is it Zodiac Academy, the first one? I can't remember. I think
the Zodiac Academy lady.
She just threw the book, threw her paperback on top of Harry Potter. And I think the tagline was something like, if Voldemort ran Hogwarts or something. And they had massive success. So people, I think a lot of authors either feel that it's cheeky to compare your book to a famous book. I think, or if you want, you know, you'll ride down the tails of a famous book or something like this, but who cares? Just if it gets people buying your book, who cares what you're comparing it to? At the end of the day, people like reading the same stuff.
Yes, they want to know what they're
different
getting.
Stories, but they want to know what they're getting. I mean, especially romance readers. I mean, you know, how many billionaires, CEOs can fall in love with the new Office Junior or whatever it is? I mean, how many times does that story have to be told? Clearly, a million times. Right?
But it's so true. When I read Twilight, and I was a huge Twilight fan, I named my son Cullen. This is how big a fan I was.
Oh my God.
And when I finished Twilight, I was walking around asking anyone who would listen and the internet, what do I read after Twilight? Like, what do I read after Twilight? So that whole what do you read after is a huge selling point, I think. So
100%.
You are very smart. That's very smart.
Well, I don't know if it's smart or cheeky.
You're very lucky. You're very lucky, sir.
But yes, I like going to the casino quite often.
And Blake, do you treat them differently when you put money behind them on Facebook?
Sorry, what was that again? I'm half deaf.
How do you advertise those videos on Facebook? Do you treat it the same as an image, or what do you do?
Right. So I do three things when it comes to the videos. And this is going to be an insider secret. I don't think I've ever told anybody this publicly.
We won't tell us.
So, okay. So videos, whoever's used videos in the past, whatever the type of videos they are, generally we all agree that you get lots of clicks and they run quite cheaply, but you don't necessarily feel like you're getting sales. I think they work better with KU than, for some reason, I just think the KUs go up when videos are being used. But even so, that's quite minimal, I think, compared to a really good static image with a great ad copy. But what videos people like watching videos, and necessarily we're all in a bit of like a brain rot mentality of just, oh, it's a video, you watch it for like 3-5 seconds and then you carry on. And obviously Facebook deems that as somebody's interested. When, I mean, how many videos do you watch when you're scrolling through social media when you're bored and you just watch something random that you have absolutely no interest in, and then you get to the end of it, you're like, why did I even watch that?
People cleaning their
I don't know. I think we
carpet.
switch off. Yeah, people
Someone
cleaning
cleaning a carpet, and I'm like,
Steph
what?
loves
And I'm
that,
like,
right?
what
She
am
loves
I
the rug
doing?
cleaner. She loves the rug cleaner. I catch her watching it all the time. And I'm like, I get
Steph
that.
and I could be friends if it wasn't for
That's
Twilight.
like OCD sort of, that's
behavior.
that's just scratching something in the brain. That
Yes.
people have.
And then does she sit in front of Netflix and she can't find what to watch? So, but you can watch a rug being cleaned for it. It's the
So you
weirdest
can watch
thing.
a rug being cleaned. I can watch an engine being stripped apart and rebuilt. She watches a rug being cleaned, right? I don't know what that says about us. But yeah, but then you can scroll through Facebook and see other imagery, and even to the point where people are doing just stuff that doesn't make any sense. But you're still there watching it, and you're like, why am I wasting my life doing this, right? So I think there is a bit of a people's minds switch off when they're scrolling and they see video, a bit different to imagery that grabs your attention. Video grabs your attention, but I think your mind is switched off in general. So you get a lot of clicks, you get a lot of views, whatever. So what I do is I will use a TikTok video, download it, leave all the branding on it, so it tells you it's a TikTok video, and I will use the TikTok video as a Facebook ad. And I'll do 3 things with that TikTok video. One, I'll just run it as a straight advert that sends you to whichever Amazon in your country who are targeting, and run it as a straight ad.
Yeah.
The second one is I will send that TikTok video, set up that TikTok video to send you to the TikTok page of that ad account so that your TikTok grows, right? And then the third thing I'll do is I will send that TikTok video, but I will remove the branding and just have that video that you originally uploaded onto TikTok. And I'll run it as a Facebook reel. But it's not a reel, it's a Facebook ad, but it looks like a Facebook reel. And I will send it to the Facebook page that you're running the ads from, or the author that you're running the ads for, to their Facebook page. So they basically go and view your Facebook and look at your reels. And some people are like, oh, well, that's dead money. Why are you sending people to your Facebook page? Why are you sending people to your TikTok and stuff like this? Well, if they're interested enough to go to your TikTok or to your Facebook page to watch your reel and then potentially watch your other reels, you're just warming them up.
Yeah, exactly.
You're getting them interested in your... Yes, you're paying for it. Yeah. Okay. And you can do this for free. You can upload a reel, 3 or 4 reels a day, every day for a year, and your Facebook page will grow from people watching your reels. Yeah. And you can obviously do this on your TikTok for free, post 3 or 4 TikToks every day and grow your TikTok and whatever. I'm just accelerating the process by sending those people to those platforms, and they'll do what they always do. They'll either get interested or they won't be interested. Yeah. But it all takes time, but it just grows. Yeah. Everything grows.
That's so
And you can get paid for that if you want. If you've got your Facebook page...
explain this to us, because this is so interesting.
This is a great revenue. Now that Facebook has realised that, all the young kids are going to TikTok and wherever, whichever platform they're on, and people are on Facebook, but they're aging out or they're of a certain demographic.
That's rude.
Those boring old Facebook people. Like, your kids, are your kids on Facebook?
And I have a 19-year-old, so I mean, she would know.
The only people I know between the 18 who are allowed on Facebook, whatever, 18 to 16, 18 to 30, the only people I know that are on Facebook, they're only on there for Marketplace.
Yeah. Yes, my son is 16 and he's on there for Marketplace.
Yeah, exactly. They don't care about it as a social media, right?
Yeah.
And Facebook knows this, and they know that they're going to age out. They know that times are moving fast. So they are paying creators to create stuff
Yes.
And this is like, maybe it's the wild, wild west of Facebook in this term. But you can monetize your Facebook page. We all know that. And, you know, before we used to make pennies for the content that we posted because we didn't post very regularly. We didn't do all that and we didn't really care. And we just, well, that's nice. We made $5 this month or whatever. But what I started doing is when I started sending people to the Facebook page to watch the reels, what I was doing two things. I was getting totally new people going to the Facebook page and watching the reels and getting paid for it, which then, because more people were watching it, interacting with it, commenting, doing whatever it is they do, Facebook then pushed that reel to more people. And you would see in the analytics that, you know, 80% of everybody that watched that reel wasn't following the page. And it would tell you how many people started following the page because they watched the reel. And it was just slowly growing.
Okay.
And then also you would send fans who will always see your ads and comment. And they're just those return readers. They're just super fans. Everything you do, they comment on. It was sending them to the Facebook page that wasn't being shown to them. And they were watching everything.
Okay.
So she's got, I think, about 30,000 followers or something like that on the page. Last year, she was probably having 2,500, 3,000 of the 30,000 actually interacting with the page. Now she's getting 17 to 18,000 interactions with the page from followers.
Wow. Okay.
And the rest of the interactions from the page are coming from non-followers, and she's getting paid for all those interactions.
Wow.
So the way it's been growing, and I don't know if the bubble's going to burst on this. So it's quite new to me, and I'm kind of like, well, where are we at with it and stuff. But the way it's growing is we're making more on Facebook than we're spending on Facebook ads. And it's exponentially growing at the minute, and I don't know when it's gonna either level off or dip, or they change the rules. But it's going to happen at some point.
Be positive.
I think so. I think last month, it was $7,500.
Yes.
From Facebook for posting.
It's just
my ad spend.
like
I don't even make that on my outside of my.
And then the ad spend last month for my wife on those books and all that stuff was just over 12. So basically, Facebook ads only cost me 6, or a little bit more, or whatever, because we're getting Facebook when they pay us. I don't know, because we haven't been paid yet. But I'm sure they'll find a reason not to pay us. I don't know. We're getting cynical. But
be positive.
That's exciting. That's super exciting.
It's so exciting.
And it's new to me.
Can you imagine what this will do for my ROI?
Well, yeah, exactly. And the way it's projecting for this month, if I continue spending and don't run out of Facebook budget, which is like the gut punch to everybody when they're like, I just don't have enough for the ads and they work it. Why did I buy that car or whatever? Why did the boiler break? This month, I think it's going to break even. I was going to be very, very close to breaking even to how much I spent on Facebook ads to how much Facebook pays me. But then obviously you've got your return on investment from your sales that you've generated from your ads.
Yeah, what a pleasure. You like free advertising.
Getting to the point. It's getting, free, or maybe even to the point they're paying me. I don't know, but it's the wild, wild west. I don't know. It's crazy. So sending people to your Facebook is viable.
Yes.
And you can make money from it. But the key factors always come up to play. You have to have good engagement. You have to have good interaction. You have to have good people viewing long extended periods of your videos. And the killer for last month's biggest earner was, instead of my wife doing her regular Facebook lives in her Facebook group, which is what she's done since day one, I told her, do your Facebook live on your page. Don't do it in your group, because your group's private, because they like posting lots of sexy pictures and stuff, and they don't want the husband seeing or whoever. The Facebook page is open to the public, obviously. So she did a live on there, and the amount, whereas she would probably get 5, 6, 7,000 views in a Facebook group, doing it in the first 3 or 4 days of doing that live, because obviously it stays live for a week, I think it is, or however long. when she did it on her Facebook page, she had close to 50,000 views on her live, and she'd only got 30,000 followers, and not all of those must have saw it. So they must have pushed that live out to all sorts of new people.
Wow.
And that live in itself created more followers. And that was her biggest paying content of last month. And that live was about an hour and a half. So obviously a lot of people watched it. To,
and what does
at least 80%.
What does she just do, like a Q&A or like a
she just doesn't shut up
anything?
She just doesn't stop talking.
I can do that.
I can do that. Off a donkey.
You've got a distinct advantage here, Delport.
If you ever meet Steph, honestly, your ears will ring.
I love it.
She'll talk to anybody and everybody about anything and everything, and particularly stuff she has no idea about. But she sounds like she does, and she's fantastic. But she's just got the gift. She's got the gift of the gab. She loves it. And then
does she go on as a conversation? It's like and then do people does it become quite a dynamic sort of thing?
She tends to. I give her team give her, because we're lucky to have a team of people that basically organise our life and stuff and run things in the background. They'll give her a list of things that she needs to bring up, give the information, news, whatever is going on, and she'll just randomly pick in any order what that is. Forget half of it, and we'll prompt her in the messages to not forget this, not forget that, and then she'll click and then she basically just interacts with the people commenting and So what's good is she meets so many of her fans in person on a regular basis. They show up. And they show up on her lives, and she knows lots of them by first name, just from history or from meeting face to face and doing all sorts of stuff. So she's got that close community. So they're basically prompting her, and they're giving her all the content that she needs, because people want to know what you're doing. That when it comes to this level of even only having 15, 2,000, 3,000 followers in a group or on a page or whatever. If they're following you for a reason. And a lot of authors tend to shy back from that, in the sense, well, I'm just an author. They don't want to know about my real life. I don't want to talk about my real life. I don't really want to show my face. That's all fine. If that's your bag, cool. But if you're happy to do that, people just want to know what you have on your toast.
I need
they want to know what you have for breakfast. They want to know what you're doing, where you're going on holiday.
Desperate for someone to be interested so that I can start chatting.
Just tell them.
Will you guys come to my life? Will you guys come to my life? So I have 2 people.
I'll be there.
I'll be there. I'll be heckling.
I'll be cheering.
That is such a good idea, though.
I think I come across a lot of people. A lot of authors are quite introverted, and that makes perfect sense. You're into writing. You're not into being public facing. I totally get it. Maybe you write stuff you don't want people to know that you write. I get that. I understand it. And you've got to work around that. But if you're happy to be, up front and facing the limelight, people just want to see and understand and know people. And that's when they become super fans and they just follow you for everything. And building that connection with your fan base helps us. Sounds cutthroat, but it helps us on the other end of things. So, she writes paranormal romance, very gothic, very dark, bordering horror, sexy men, all this sort of stuff. But what sets her apart, I think, from a lot of authors is her fan base want apparel. They want T-shirts. They want hoodies. They want cups and mugs. They want posters and calendars, and they want all this merchandise that's to do with a book in a world that she's created, where it's fandom. It's like Comic-Con. It's like, people come to book signings dressed as the characters. It's that sort of interaction, right? So the cutthroat side of that is we have a website where we give them what they want. And if they didn't want it, they wouldn't buy it. And that becomes a very big bonus income when you can just sell apparel, especially this day and age where you don't even have to have the stock in your and post it yourself, and it's all printed on demand and stuff like that. It's just something that ticks over in the background, which is great. And then obviously you do your special editions and all this sort of stuff, and you've got that instant connection because everybody's interacting.
Yes.
And building your newsletter on that, just telling people on a live that you have a newsletter, go sign up for it. Every live we just see a spike in newsletter signups, and it's fantastic. And those people are there when stuff goes sour and you need to get in direct contact with them. But everybody talks about how important a newsletter is, right? And it's gold. It's gold. But
Katie and I are actually busy. No, we're busy racing to 10,000 subs on our newsletters. JT, it looks like we're going to have to race to Facebook page group. This is becoming bigger and better. There was something, Blake, you said you wanted to go back to was ranking. You just said you remember to go back to ranking. I don't know if you remember. It was so long ago.
Before we talk about ranking, can I just, the Facebook Lives thing, I just have one question. Can you just talk me through how it works? So you go onto the page and you start a live, right? And you have all that interaction, whatever. And then does that, you said that live stays like available on the page for a week? Okay, I had no idea.
Yeah,
but longer than just the actual live. It like stays.
And you do have, so let's say you started the live at 12, whatever time, noon, 6 o'clock in the evening, whatever. Obviously it's live from the point you go live. However long that live's for, an hour, 45 minutes, 15 minutes, whatever. When you go off it, it then does a processing thing, and it'll tell you can download this live.
Okay. Does the same as TikTok?
Like TikTok, do it onto your device or whatever. But then the live stays there on the page or the Facebook group for an extended period of time. I think it's a week. I might be wrong. It might be 5 days. I can't remember. And then people can watch it almost like a repeat, I suppose, because you do get a lot of people then interacting with it who think it's live.
Yes, because it looks live.
And then they get annoyed because they're not being answered.
Yes.
I watched a few after.
And then if you want, you can then go build your YouTube channel by taking all your lives and putting them on YouTube and stuff.
Of course you can.
And do whatever but also a little trick that I learned from the Twisted Sisters, I think it was. I think it's funny that they're known as the Twisted Sisters. Anyway, if you have a work phone, and if you're like me where you've got 3 phones, because I'm in Canada, Spain and the UK or whatever, use your 2 phones on your stands or whatever and have one go live on TikTok and one go live on Facebook at the same time. So you're only doing one video. Yes, slightly different angles or whatever, but it's close enough. And
that is so clever.
You're killing 2 birds with one stone, going live on both at the same time.
Yes, Blake. This is why you earn the big bucks.
So many great ideas. But I need to cross the barrier because the problem that I have, Blake, is so TikTok lives. Because I have no problem going live. I've never been, but it pushes it out to South African audience. So it's not remotely. So, but we've just sorted out a second US account, JT. So I think I'll start doing it on there. We managed to use Bobby Kim's approach to try and kind of jump the digital territory.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've tried to do TikTok advertising, and obviously I don't know if it's changed now because I haven't looked at it in a long time, but obviously I could only do TikTok advertising in the UK at the time.
Yes.
And no, actually I was in Ireland. Yeah, we were living in Ireland at the time, and my TikTok the advertising we did would only go to Ireland.
Yeah, so that does happen. It's so frustrating. I wonder if they'll ever roll out that you can choose, like with Facebook, where you can choose who you want to. That would be amazing, wouldn't it? Like,
they'll probably get there.
Yeah,
I'll probably get there. It's so early days for advertising on TikTok, relatively.
We don't even have TikTok shop.
Quotations all the time.
We don't have TikTok shop yet. That's how far behind we are.
Steph hasn't got a TikTok shop, and I'm like, you need to get a TikTok shop. But
we don't have the function. They're like, not for you. So
right. Okay.
Nobody has any money there. We're not going to give you TikTok
Delport, just move here already, for God's sake. Just move here.
I've seen it get nothing on board. Okay, well, the ranking. Do you remember like what it was you wanted me to remind you? I'm sorry, I took too long. I might have hesitated too long. It was something about if you get your book between 800 and 1,500,
then you can bring in 10 grand.
Then you can something.
So there is depending on your genre, and it's different for every genre. Depending on where your book falls in a rank, let's just for argument's sake make it easy. If your book gets to 750, for argument's sake, and you're spending, I don't know, $5,000 a month on advertising that book, and you get it, and that spending gets it to 750 in the rankings, and then all of us, you're spending. Let's say that you're not like me, and you spend the same amount every day, right? That $5,000 spent, it gets you to 750, and then all of a sudden your spending stays the same, but all of a sudden your book jumps to 500, or it jumps to 450 or 300, right? And then you're like, wow, that's amazing. So you start spending a little bit more on your Facebook ad, but the book doesn't move in ranking hardly at all. I mean, it bounces up and down throughout the day, obviously, and each day of the week slightly different. But let's just say hit Sunday, best day of the month, best day of the week, and you get to 350. And you're like, yes, I've done it. My Facebook ads have cracked it. Let's spend more. So you spend more and it doesn't push past 350. And you're like, well, hold on a minute. I've just been spending X amount. I was at 750. It's pushed to 350. Wow, happy days. Fantastic. But now I'm spending another $1,000 or another $2,000 because we're making money, but it doesn't push any further, right? That is where, and this magic number moves up and down depending on the sale of all the other books on Amazon. So what happens is the Amazon algorithm will pick your book up at a certain point. It'll say, oh, there's lots of KU reads happening. There's lots of physical sales happening. This point, let's start promoting it. So Amazon starts promoting your book. And then you shoot up the rankings even more because you're getting that organic pushing from Amazon itself. Start sending out all those emails on Kindle, start sending out images on Kindle, does everything because Amazon wants to make more money because it knows your book's doing well. But you start spending the money and your Facebook ads don't really make any difference because the algorithm have got it up to 750, but it's not making the difference to get it up into the higher rankings. So you're thinking, well, I'm spending more and it's not working. So you have to be, I feel you have to be very conscious of that and not go, well, let's just spend more. Because then you're starting into your return on investment. And obviously you'll be making, if you touch wood and happy days, you get that higher ranking, you'll be making lots of money in sales, which will make you feel like you're not wasting money on your Facebook ads. But I think there's a ceiling on how much you can spend on your Facebook ad pushing your book. And once and that ceiling is going like this, up and down, up and down, up and down. So you just have to be a bit mindful that you can't just keep throwing money at it.
Okay.
You go, right, okay, but you'll see the jump. It's so obvious that if hopefully your sales are projecting upwards or, they're in a steady whatever. And when you're spending a consistent amount of money each month, they'll be relatively consistent. And then all of a sudden you'll just nudge it that little bit more, and then it'll hit the algorithm and it'll bounce. And the trick is not to spend more when it bounces.
Okay.
I find.
Yeah.
It might be that you have to spend even more than I'm prepared to. Into the top 10.
Sure.
I don't know. But, that's a braver game than I'm willing to pay, than I'm willing to go with.
Especially when they pay you on 60 to 90 days.
Yeah, exactly. It's a scary one.
Actually, my brain is like, boom.
I've had this conversation with quite a few 7-figure authors where I'm like, a lot of us will sit around and say, is my ad spend actually worth it? Am I spending too much? Because I know it's a very privileged position to be in, to be saying, well, we're making so much money. Is my ad spend too much? Yeah. Because we all see that we've pushed it to the limit as far as we're concerned. And then we keep pushing it a little bit more and we're not seeing the return. And we're just thinking, oh, we're running out of readers. No, there's books that have been in the top 100 for years.
Yeah.
You're not running out of readers. You're only scratching the surface. I mean, I think you could sell 100,000 copies of a book and get into the top. You could be consistently in the top 1,000 for years and only sell 100,000 books, like physical ebooks. Page reads, that's a different story. But you could be in that. You can be in that range for years, or you could sell 100,000 books in a month, be in the top 10, and then fade away.
Fall out.
and sell out. But then, was that a flash in the pan? I don't know. Was it a TikTok video going viral? Who knows?
Yeah.
It's whether people capitalize on that, whether they've got series and stuff like that. But yeah, it's a minefield of stuff.
Blake, you said you had 13 points. Was that number one?
I think that was number one, yeah.
Points. So we had to pause there. As JT said, we have a whole lot of notes, but we'll have to move on to step 2. It's now very clear why we had to have so many episodes. But so we will move on now to part 2 of Blake's episode. We hope that you're enjoying it. We are certainly absorbed so much.
Okay, enjoy part 2 of 3 of the Blake Hudson interview.